All right, the Oscars just wrapped up. I'm going to adjust the shot here a little bit. Just wrapped up here just moments ago, and boy, if you were on the Anora train, you picked the right train tonight, folks. It went 5 for 6, and the mini sweep of the film, arguably mini sweep, is complete. It ended up taking pretty much everything it could have except for Yura Borisov. It did take Best Actress for Mikey Madison. It did take editing. It did take screenplay, Best Director, and Best Picture. Those are the 5 wins for the film. Otherwise, for multiple winners tonight, you had The Brutalist take 3 with Best Actor for Adrian Brody. Also picked up 2 techs with cinematography and the score. Emilia Perez won for the Best Original Song and Best Supporting Actress for Zoe Saldana. Dune Part 2 won a couple for sound, did win that one, and it did win for its visual effects. And then Wicked took both the design categories, production design and costume design. I think that's all our multiple winners from tonight. Yeah, and it's hasn't been the easiest year to predict winners this year. I think what was my final score here? I think I went 15 for 23, sitting at 65%. Okay, I guess. I mean, coming down the stretch, I felt like, some of these categories were still very much on the fence. Some of these were a little more solidified. You were going to have to buck a lot of trends if you were going to, go with something like maybe, I don't know, if Conclave was going to win, then that was going to be one of the first times in a long time we've seen your PGA, DGA winner not repeat at the Oscars for Best Picture. Would have been the first time in a while. We'd also seen it since 1917, the film, the war film, that also the director winner did not go to the film that won the DGA award. But yeah, like I said, if you were Anora tonight was your night, man. I think the film just very much peaked at the time for voting and stuff very clearly. And this is even before Mikey Madison had won Best Actress at BAFTA and everything. So when it comes to that, yeah, I feel like BAFTA, there were a lot of people saying, okay, well, BAFTA was very helpful last year. They pretty much went, almost everything correct last year. Visual effects was, I think, one of the few spots they slipped up as far as predicting the winners. And this year, it's like, yep, they got the 4 acting categories right. They got one of the screenplay categories right. They didn't get film right. They didn't get director right. They didn't get original screenplay right. Let me think what else. They got quite a few of the tech categories right. They didn't get film editing right, but I think almost everything else, yeah, they were helpful in. So I don't know. Yeah, and then you had Critics' Choice. They were correct with Anora for picture. They got almost all the acting categories right. SAG went 2 for 4. Excuse me, 2 for 4. They got both supporting categories right, but SAG was not right on the 2 leading categories. WGA don't even count it. There's so many ineligible screenplays every year. They did get Nora right for original screenplay, but otherwise, it's like the Conclave was not eligible and adapted, so they weren't going to be helpful there. So I guess just going into the ones that I got incorrect tonight and some of those. And then maybe some lessons learned, because I do think there's 1 or 2 lessons we can learn from the Oscars tonight. More so on predicting for the future, of course. I think starting with I think for the second year in a row I went 0 for 3 on the short categories. So don't listen to me on those. Let's see. We had Only Girl in the Orchestra win for documentary short. In the Shadow of the Cypress, who I heard no one talk about. That was a very out of the blue winner. That was our second award of the night. So I'm like, or second or third award of the night. So I'm like, once they said that one, I'm like, oh man. I said, I don't know. I did not know. I had not heard anyone talk about that film as far as possible upset winner or anything. It was really Beautiful Men, Wander to Wonder. Some people thought yuck. Even Magic Candies, I think. Some people said they talked to voters and they liked that one a lot. So it's like, I guess it was a very, very up-in-the-air category. Then you had I'm Not a Robot win for live-action shorts, so I went 0 for 3 on those. Just did not happen. I don't know. I guess The subject matter of I'm Not a Robot, I think has to do partially with AI or something. I've heard a couple things about that. So obviously, with the actors and writers strike and stuff from last year, a lot of that had to do with AI usage and everything. So I suppose that helped that one. The Only Girl in the Orchestra, I've heard some people say that they picked that one because of the title, which I went with that same logic with I Am Ready Warden. Sounded like a more serious subject matter, which usually wins these, but Only Girl in the Orchestra also, is a applicable title and everything. It's one that people are like, oh yeah, that sounds like a thing there. But yeah, In the Shadow of the Cypress, that one I'm really not sure. I'm really not sure how that one won. What else did we get wrong? We got 2 of the feature categories wrong. Flow wins for animated feature. And the streak of the Annie Awards being on, off, now they're off, off. So, yeah. I guess fuck the whole idea of that. So, yeah, my whole frickin' idea on that now is just if it's an international feature, fucking go with it. Fucking go with it. The fucking Academy voters really like it. So that was an early one I got wrong, so that right away put me in a bad mood. I'm like, yeah, and then I got that one and the animated short wrong right in a row, so I'm like, this is going to be a painful night if it keeps up like this. At this rate, Brady's going to win director and Conclave's going to win picture, and I'll have walked away from some right picks and stuff, but anyways. Doc feature I also got wrong with No Other Land. I had that one picked for a while. It kind of felt like a moderate front runner for a while. And then Porcelain War when it won DGA and everything there. It did seem like one that a lot of people kind of gravitated towards prediction wise. A lot of voters that had spoken with a lot of the publicists that do a lot of the coverage. A lot of them had talked about Porcelain War and how that was kind of a little bit of a favorite of people that had voted in that category. And it's like, again, when you usually, as my allergies pick up, sorry, usually when you do get, a big favorite in some of these feature categories like that, then they can win. And it's, if you have, like, documentary feature is not one that every last Oscar voter will vote in. And usually, again, in those cases, when you get a very passionate base, then they will go with something that they really enjoy. So that was the logic for picking Porcelain War. It didn't work there, yet it did work in international feature, where Amelia Perez, kind of felt like it had been the front runner for a long, long time, and then some of the controversies happened, and then I'm Still Here when when you recognize, okay, this had a lot of popularity, sure, not the 13 nominations that Amelia Perez got, but it also got that actress and that picture nomination, and that kind of paired with the fact that there were some people that were just a little uncomfortable voting for it, et cetera, which I never, again, I was a little like, okay, I can, you can take that with a little bit of a grain of salt, because, Zoe, I didn't think was really in, huge danger through the season. The song, I didn't think was in tremendous danger through the season. There were question marks, there were definitely, if it had gone over 13 tonight, you would have been able to point and say, well, I guess it did actually make a much bigger impact than we thought. And film Twitter, I guess, does live supreme, if you will. But obviously, this is much bigger than film Twitter, of course. But anyways, but yeah, and then I'm Still Here does come through, and it came through and won for international feature. So your Brazilians will be extremely happy. They'll be partying all through the day today. So yeah, that's that one. What else did I get wrong? A couple of the texts I got wrong, like sound, which was a very up-in-the-air category. I went with Wicked because of it, generally being a more well-liked movie, got more nominations. And instead they went with Dune Part 2, which had won at BAFTA. And it was really, I think it was very much in the discussion to win. So that one was kind of a close call. And then film editing, Anora. I had picked Anora for a little while, and then after Conclave won at BAFTA, I was like, I can see a scenario where Conclave can win this. And it was definitely a case, again, where I think Anora could still have won Best Picture without the editing award. And nope, instead they just loved it through the Academy. So it won for its film editing as well. And yes, for those that are counting at home, Sean Baker now has 4 Oscars. 4 more Oscars than he had yesterday or this morning. So there you go. And again, another case, because we talked about it a couple times through the stretch of the season here, where it's like, okay, you had an opportunity like Conclave, that could have won for picture. You could have had Sean Baker win for screenplay. You could have had Brady Corbet win for directing or something, and split it amongst those 3. Nope, all of them go to Sean Baker, the same way that Alejandro Inarritu won all of them, the same way that the Daniels and the whole team behind Everything Everywhere All at Once. They swept that year, so it happens. It happens. It's not. It wasn't quite as split, I think, as some people had alluded to in the last few days here. And other than that, I had Best Actress wrong as well, Mikey Madison. That's a performance very much, I think, like Jean Dujardin, if I can pronounce his name right, for The Artist. Very much came along for the ride. That was also one that he was a BAFTA winner that year when it was kind of like a split between him and George Clooney. In this case, Demi Moore and Mikey Madison had kind of, even though Mikey had only won at BAFTA and Demi had won everywhere else, this was definitely one of those where it's like, nope, you go along for the ride. And I think that's got to be the explanation. Obviously, yes, Demi's win at SAG was after voting had closed, so that couldn't have, pulled any voters along with her to vote if they hadn't already voted. So that is true, and everything. But yeah, that I think Mikey's win again, and it's I don't think it's one of those things where we look at it and say, well, it's clear one performance is better than the other. I don't think anyone has been saying that through the year. It's been very split. A lot of people have said, like, Fernando Torres is actually the best of these five. Some have said Demi, some have said Mikey. So it's very up in the air. I think it's a real even split between people who've been analyzing which is the best actual performance in the category. But yeah, in this case, yeah, I think this is very much a case of Best Picture taking one along for the ride. So, yep. Otherwise, for other winners tonight, just kind of recapping everything we already mentioned, picture and director going to Anora. Glad that I, didn't stick with my intuition the night of SAG, because I would have picked Conclave and maybe even Brady Corbet, so I would have been way wrong on those. Adrian Brody came through for The Brutalist. Very, very funny that history repeated itself, not with a smooch to the presenter, but with him being played off by the orchestra. He hushes them again, and again they stop the music. It's hilarious. That cracked me up tonight. There was a commercial that had the Californians from SNL. That cracked me up tonight. Just the two things that made me laugh the hardest tonight, that and the Californians commercial, both were really funny. But it was really funny to see that happen. But yeah, Adrian Brody wins. He goes 2 for 2. 2 for 2. It's I think Kevin Spacey won a supporting and a lead. Adrian has 2 leads. I'm trying to think who else has gone like 2 for 2. I know Sally Field had that for a while in Best Actress, and then she got nominated for Lincoln, and that messed that whole thing up. What else? We still have one with Best Actress, though, in, Hilary Swank. Hilary Swank still is 2 for 2. I'm trying to think. I think there's one. Is there one or two more? I think there are. Yeah. They're not coming to my mind right now, but yeah. Emma Stone was nominated for Birdman and lost, so yeah, she can't pull that feat either. Yeah, but it's kind of nice to see. Okay, you have Mikey Madison winning her first time nominated. Zoe Saldana, same thing. Kieran Culkin, same thing. If Timothée Chalamet had come through, you would have had 4 first-time nominees. Or no, sorry, not. It would have to be. I think Sebastian Stan's the only one who's not been nominated in that category before. I forget. Timothée was nominated for Call Me by Your Name. Yeah, because Coleman's been nominated before, Rafe's been nominated before, Adrian has won before. So yeah, Sebastian would have been the only other way that would have happened. But I think he was. Yeah, I don't think he was quite going to win. We mentioned, the screenplay categories, Anora and Conclave winning those more or less expectedly. Original screenplay was up in the air. There was an argument for maybe A Real Pain to repeat its BAFTA win. The Substance for being the most original idea, that could have won very easily. Otherwise, Brutalist, taking its 2 prizes in cinematography and score. Those were BAFTA winners. They felt like they were, in contention to win for sure, yeah. So I think I had those picked pretty well. Wicked, we knew the 2 design categories pretty locked up through most of the televised awards. The Substance winning for makeup, that was a pretty easy get, because that's, again, been pretty much sweeping everywhere it's been. And Dune Part 2 for visual effects, that was one I think a lot of people had pegged down. So, so I guess in lessons learned, number one, the biggest one for me was very early in the night. It was one of those things I was like, yep, just have to frickin' learn that rule from now on. An animated feature, don't go with the big studio films right now. The Academy, with its international support, just, again, really, 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 really likes their international animated features right now. I don't know how the race is. Obviously, we don't know exactly how the race is going to pan out next year, but yeah, we're gonna have to really keep an eye on that next year. Even in a case like this, where it's like we saw Wallace and Gromit win at BAFTA, and Flo lost there, where it felt like, okay, Flo didn't make it for for international feature over there. So it felt like, okay, if they were going to give it Flo, if they had given it over there, I think a lot of us would have probably picked Flo to win. But when Wallace and Gromit won, a lot of us, including myself, dismissed it as more of a BAFTA thing. It's like, oh yeah, they just want to give it to Aardman. And no, Wild Robot, it won at Critics' Choice, it won at the Annies, but no, that still wasn't enough. It still wasn't enough, and getting 2 other nominations wasn't enough either. That's another reason why I kind of excused Flo from possibly winning tonight. Was not that I had it like dead last in the rankings or anything. I had it second, to be honest. But no, Wild Robot, though, it's like I looked at it again. It's like, okay, well, unlike Spider-Man last year, which could have played in the sound category. Did it not? I can't remember. Wasn't it like possibly a visual effects nominee as well last year or something? Like it was maybe on one of the early shortlists or something when they break it down to 20 in visual effects, then they break it down to 10 for the official shortlist. But anyways, I think it was on one of those lists last year. And its only nomination last year, Across the Spider-Verse, was an animated feature. So it's like, well, we could have gauged that as also a little bit of a thing where it's like, yeah, the Academy as a whole, some of the other branches, they didn't, love the movie. It's like, yeah, they liked it just fine. But, their passion was for Boy and the Heron. And this year the passion was with Flo, even though The Wild Robot was, as we saw with its nominations in score and sound, more widely seen, arguably, because Flo was also up for international feature. So there you go. So that's my big takeaway is do not pick the studio film for animated feature next year. If it's, 5 films and there's 1 or 2 international ones in there, pick the international one. I don't know. I guess the second rule would have to be, let me look really quick. I'm going to look because the Mikey Madison one I think is one we can maybe pick up. Oppenheimer last year picked up 2 awards with Best Picture. Everything Everywhere All at Once picked up 3. Coda picked up 1. Nomadland picked up 1. This is the first time since Parasite we've seen a Best Picture winner also not pick up an acting award. And if we go back a little further, look at a couple more. Green Book picked up an acting win. Shape of Water did not. Moonlight did. Spotlight did not. Birdman did not, even with multiple nominees. 12 Years a Slave did. Argo did not. And The Artist did. Excuse me. So just going back, that. I guess we can go one more just to have an even number here. Or 2 more. Yeah, King's Speech, that picked up a win. And The Hurt Locker did not. So if we go through, I think that's more movies that are picking up wins than not picking up wins with acting when it comes to Best Picture. So I think next year, if we have a race that's kind of close and it could be a potential Best Picture winner, I think we need to give that one some attention. In this case, Mikey, I think, again, very much I think this is an along for the ride thing. The BAFTA win obviously was big. Because if Demi had won BAFTA and then Mikey had won tonight, that would have been like a whoa. That would have been as big a shock as like the tie for Best Actress all those many, many moons ago in the 60s. It also would have been, I'm trying to remember the last like huge, gigantic upset acting win. I'm trying to remember like you'd have to probably go back to Marcia Gay Harden or something. I'm trying to think of the ones that either... the ones that kind of swept... Russell Crowe losing for Beautiful Mind was something of a shock because Denzel winning for Training Day. That was one I think Russell had pretty much won everything that year for Beautiful Mind and then lost to Denzel. And some of the behind-the-scenes thing is like, okay, well, there was the alleged phone incident where he was throwing cell phones or rotary phones or both. I've heard the mixture of stories there at certain BAFTA producers right before or even during the show, I've heard. I don't know the whole story with that, but there is a story with that. that kind of took up some tabloid attention for a minute there and was kind of being spread like wildfire. That was also, there was a delay in the Oscar telecast that year. 'Cause it didn't. I think some of those awards were again in like January, February, and then the Oscar telecast got delayed to like mid-April or something. Like it was a long, long delay. So that allowed more time for people to stew. That allowed Halle Berry was a little bit more secured with her Best Actress candidacy that year. She was one again. We'd seen. I think that was the year Sissy Spacek I think was winning a lot for In the Bedroom, and was more or less the front runner up to that point. And then Halle Berry came along and won. And then Denzel came along and won. So, yeah, it would have been, if Mikey had lost BAFTA, that would have been up in that range. We all would have been like, whoa, that would have been much more out of the blue. Because to me, I think it would have almost been a near lock at that point. Everyone would have been predicting her. And, not what we're here for, but did I also get a little bit of a sense that Demi was not happy sitting there in the audience after Best Actress? I mean, again, I typically, because in years past I've gone over, this is how the host did, this is how this went, and it's like, I don't know, I just, in the years here, it's like, I feel like I don't want to really do that anymore. I don't want to like review, like I haven't reviewed any shows really much this year. I don't know, I just don't feel like I just don't feel like my opinion really matters in that. I mean, the show is the show. I'm more here to, see if I got my predictions right, celebrate film, obviously, too. But, like being a television critic and stuff, that's not my milieu. That's not my thing. So, yeah. And in the same way, we talk, I haven't mentioned much about speeches this year. I haven't mentioned, this was a great speech or this was a terrible speech, blah, blah, blah. And I've gone away from that in years past because it's like, again, when you're up there, even if you're an expectant winner, if you're an unexpected winner, what comes out of your mouth is what comes out of your mouth. And in that moment, your brain is probably going about 90 miles an hour and everything, So it's like you don't really, I don't think, you can criticize it if you want to, but there's going to be a million excuses for why someone gives a good or a bad speech. So, so I'm really not going to do much of that this year. But yeah, I think otherwise, though, the other tradition I usually do once we get done with the Oscars, and this I will do this year, let's look at the movies that are set to come out in 2025 that I think right now, let's see, let's try to make some very early spotlights for what could be coming down the track at the next Oscars. Let's see, I think for so far in 2025... probably not going to happen, but I think Dog Man, which is an animated film, that's made some money. But I think, animated movies released that early in the year that are not like, ones that are playing at Sundance or ones that are going to, get on a track like that. It's rare that they go all the way. So that's, yeah. Otherwise, I haven't gotten to it yet, but I know Captain America Brave New World has been lighting up the box office a little bit. Not like a runaway hit, but it certainly made some money. Reviews are very split on. I think I'm going to try to see it this week, but I don't think that one's really playing for much Oscar attention. Marvel's gotten some success before with like its visual effects nominees before, but other than that, it's not really one. It'll be interesting though next weekend to see how Mickey 17, I think it's Mickey 17, which is a new film from Parasite's Oscar winner Bong Joon-ho. This film has been delayed a few times. The previews. For whatever reason, the previews have not grabbed me. I have just, for whatever reason, I'm like, this looks like it's going to be shit. Just the way the previews were put together. Now, I've read some of the reviews that come out. They started some screenings here roughly about a week ago. And a lot of the reviews are pretty solid. They're saying, nope, Bong Joon-ho is at it again. It's maybe not, on the level of something like Parasite, but, being a big studio film and a more mainstream, little less, indie start with something like Parasite, with this one, obviously, coming from Warner Brothers and everything, but, still, really, really solid reviews and everything. I don't know, I probably will still end up checking it out, but again, it does seem like it is a hard movie to advertise. It's kind of hard to get that premise out there in a concise 2-minute preview, or even a 30-second preview if it's a television ad, so, yeah, I don't know. So maybe it's just a thing where it's like, again, it's hard to preview the movie in that way. Well, Soderbergh has one out later in this month, because we're in March now. Black Bag. I've seen the preview for that a couple times. I don't know, just looks like standard fare. I mean, it might be a decent thriller for a weekend or whatever, but I really wouldn't expect that one to do extremely well. Um, let's see, let's keep going here. I don't think there's way too much here in March that's like immediately grabbing me. Snow White, which is the live action remake, more or less, of the 37 animated one. They're finally getting to Snow White. That one is, I think, going to be a player maybe for, you can look at visual effects, you can look at costume design, production design, all that stuff. But, yeah, maybe. I don't know how it's going to do the box office. I know some people are very against Rachel Zegler. They just really do not like her. So I wouldn't be shocked if it comes in just slightly below expectations. But when you look at it again, it's like when you look at the box office previews and stuff, for like family films and stuff out, it's like there's not really a lot of family entertainment that's going to be out between now and then. So I can see family audiences, though, still keeping this at a very decent opening for Disney. What else do we got? I'm kind of interested a little bit. I don't think it's going to be anything, big player at the Oscars or anything, but maybe it could get a Golden Globe nomination or two, is Death of a Unicorn from A24. Seems like a fun premise. I kind of like the pairing of Paul Rudd and Jenna Ortega. That could be fun. The preview I saw was pretty fun, so I don't know. That might not be too bad. Getting into April, God, the previews for that Minecraft movie look like total garbage. I will be skipping that one. Let's see, what else is coming out in April here? Not much. Skipped to May. Another Marvel one in Thunderbolts. I don't know. I'm not sensing a lot of excitement for this one, so. Between, I don't know, what else? You got Fantastic Four coming out later on from Marvel in the year. So if Marvel's going to have a player for like visual effects or something, I would probably lean toward something more like Fantastic Four maybe than Thunderbolts personally, but yeah. What else do we got coming out in May here? Well, I know one I will be seeing, though, is Mission Impossible Final Reckoning. Rumored to be about roughly 3 hours long, roughly cost, after delays and stuff, almost $400 million. One of the most expensive movies ever made now, and supposedly will be part of the ending, if not the ending, to the Ethan Hunt version of the Mission Impossible movies, but still leaving the door open for either him or some of the other various characters to come back in further missions. I felt like generally with this series, like Mission Impossible 4, Ghost Protocol is still one of my absolute favorites in the series. 5 took a slight dip for me, and then Fallout was one of the best action movies I've seen in years. Absolutely incredible. That was it from start to finish. That was a thrill ride for me. I loved that one. And then you had the Dead Reckoning Part 1, which now the title makes no sense. That dipped down again for me. I didn't think it was as good as Fallout. It's that is a very hard act to follow, but yeah. Also, some of the visual effects in that one were very wonky when we got to like the last set piece and stuff. But anyways, Final Reckoning, though, just the previews look really great. If we've seen this, almost Star Trek-like pattern with the sequel numbers, 4 and 6 were great, 5 and 7 still good, but not as good. Then 8 would mean it's back to form. And I think this potentially being one of the last ones, if not the last one for Tom Cruise, I think that could very easily. I think they might have a better thing, and it does seem like it will kind of bring some of the storylines that were set up in the last one to a conclusion as well, which we always like to see. I'm very interested in seeing the Lilo and Stitch movie. Surprise! This is one of the Disney remakes where I'm like, okay, this actually might be fun to watch. And I was very young when Lilo and Stitch came out. I think that's when we did see in theaters as a family, but I can't remember exactly. And I still remember Ohana means family. Family means no one gets left behind, and all that. And I think it's going to make a killing at the box office. I think it absolutely will. The Super Bowl preview was very cute. I think it's going to be a fun family thing. I don't know, as far as Oscar play or whatever. And by the way, for Mission Impossible, I don't know, maybe the last one actually did get some nominations. Surprisingly, up till that point, they always avoided Mission Impossible. They always just skipped over it when it came to nominations. But I don't know. We'll see. That one maybe sound or film editing maybe, or visual effects maybe, some of those. With Lilo and Stitch, I don't know if any Oscar attention, but I just name drop it because I think it looks fun. You've got the Phoenician Scheme, I think I'm pronouncing that right, which is Wes Anderson's new film. That's scheduled to release in May, toward the end of May. And let's look at the cast on this one, because he always gets the best casts ever. You got Benicio del Toro, then you got Mia Throppleton, who is Kate Winslet's daughter, so get to know her. You got Michael Cera, Tom Hanks, Bryan Cranston, Riz Ahmed, Jeffrey Wright, Scarlett Johansson, Richard Ayoade? I haven't heard his name in a while. Hope Davis, Rupert Friend, Benedict Cumberbatch, Bill Murray, Charlotte Gainsbourg, Willem Dafoe, Matthew Amalric, and I think that's it. He always gets a hell of a cast for his movies. Haven't heard much about this one. Seems like it would be, again, more of a caper film. But, yeah, Asteroid City was okay. I was all right with that one, his last one. Yeah. Let's see. Then we got, going into June, we have Ballerina with John Wick. I think Keanu Reeves is back in it. They showed a preview for it tonight, and Keanu Reeves was in it. I didn't think he was going to be in it, but he's in it. Ana de Armas is the star of this one. I've never gotten into the John Wick movies. It's just not for me. I saw the first one. We had to watch it in one of the film classes. And but the expectations were really high at that point. Like, everyone I had heard said, no, this is, it's a more grounded, realistic action movie. It's one of the best in years or whatever. And I was like, it was just okay. I was like, it was very mediocre, I thought. Very much hyped up. But, so I haven't seen any of the other sequels or anything, but we'll see how it does at the box office. I think having the John Wick in part of the title, because before it was just going to be called Ballerina. Having John Wick in the title, though, I think definitely helps its overseas markets and stuff. So I think we'll see how it does at the box office. The Life of Chuck, which was our People's Choice winner at Toronto last year. Life of Chuck will finally premiere in June in theaters. That's Mike Flanagan's film. Tom Hiddleston's in it. And everything. Yeah, I think putting it out in the middle of June, I don't think they're going to have another winner next year with this one. They just won big with Anora tonight, but I don't see this one being their next ticket to the Oscars right away, and with a release date like that. I think, if you play it maybe in the comedy musical categories of the Globes, you can get some attention there. And then maybe start up from there and see what you can get going, but we'll see. We've got How to Train Your Dragon, the live-action remake to that sort of live-action, I guess. I don't know. I still remember going to see the first one in theaters when the 3D craze was kind of just starting up. Avatar had just been out a few months earlier, and that one I did see in 3D, and I was very unimpressed with the 3D. The story itself in the movie I thought was good, not fantastic. So I don't know. So that one has not been a favorite of mine, but not really planning on seeing it, but I don't know. Then you got Elio from Pixar. That's going to be Pixar's one of their movies next year. I think they have 2 coming out. Don't know much about it, but I'm sure it'll be in contention, of course, for animated feature. We also got 28 Years Later. This has not been a horror series I've been invested in, but I know that there's a lot of excitement, though. A lot of excitement for that one with the horror community, because that's been a sequel they've been literally 28 years they've been waiting. Well, not that long, obviously, but they've been waiting for that one for a long time. And to wrap up June, we have F1 with Joseph Kosinski, who just did Top Gun Maverick and Only the Brave. I would definitely recommend Only the Brave more than I would Top Gun Maverick. He's got F1 with Brad Pitt. I'm kind of curious about this one, like F1 and Formula Racing and everything. It's not one of my big subject matters. I did really like Rush from Ron Howard here quite a few years ago. That was a great movie. And the way this one's filmed and stuff, it's okay, looks like they put a lot of effort into it, obviously, with some of the camera work and everything. So I'm it could be fun. It could be a fun joyride, but again, maybe not one of the top on my list type of films there. Then getting in July, we have Jurassic World Rebirth. Just quit with these movies, please. The previews for this one already make it look like it's just another excuse for itself. I think we're over these Jurassic Park things. We're just over it. Superman, didn't I talk about this already? I can't remember if I talked about this or not. Very split on the trailer because it's like you have Crypto the Super Dog in there, and that just did not look like it was meshing with the more serious themes that James Gunn seems to be going with in that one. I'm not sure. Good cast in it and everything. It looks like David Cornsweet, who looks, passes enough for some of the other Supermans and stuff. And then Rachel Brosnahan, I think, was an inspired choice for Lois Lane. Nicholas Hoult, he's not going to be any Gene Hackman. Rest in peace. I think he passed away in between our last videos there. He's not going to be any Gene Hackman when it comes to Lex Luthor, but I'm sure he'll make it his own and everything. Otherwise, I know it sounds like there's going to be a lot of mixture of DC characters in there. I just wonder if, as long as they're utilized in the right way, I think it'll be fine. But I know on the surface that there's been some concerns of people saying, nah, too many characters, blah, blah, blah. But I'm kind of split on it. But, when we get closer to it, we see more previews for it and stuff. I don't know. It might turn out to be pretty good. We'll see. Let's see. What else do we got going here? Then at the end of July, we have Fantastic Four First Steps. Not really in love with the subtitle, but whatever. I'm sure it'll make sense. There was a preview for that. It was kind of forgettable to me, honestly. With Pedro, anything with Pedro Pascal, I'm going to be like, okay, I'm sure it'll be decent. he's kind of hit it out of the park. But I do like the 4 actors they've cast in those roles and everything. You got Cuz from The Bear. You got Vanessa Kirby and Eben Moss. I can't pronounce his last name, but yeah. And then Joseph Quinn. Just saw him in Quiet Place from earlier this year. He was also in Gladiator 2, and of course Pedro. Good cast. Good cast. Then you got sounds like John Malkovich is going to be in more of a villain role. You got Ralph Ineson, who's going to be Galactus. Julia Garner is going to be Silver Surfer. So some interesting choices there for sure. Different depictions that what we traditionally see in the comics and some of the other film versions, but I don't know. We'll see. Let's see, what else do we got going on? One I am going to be just a little shaky on is the Naked Gun reboot with Liam Neeson. There's no previews or anything out for it yet. I don't know, though. I don't know. I'll tell you what, the first Naked Gun is so fucking hilarious. To this day, I laugh hard throughout that whole movie. I mean, just from so many good jokes. Nice beaver. And then she brings down the statue or the taxidermied beaver when he's like, it makes it look like he's looking up her skirt and stuff. Just terrific. Leslie Nielsen, the delivery as Frank Drebin is, I don't know how you're going to top it. Now, I get where they get the casting for Liam Neeson because we do forget that Leslie was more or less a dramatic actor leading up to some of his roles there on television before Airplane. Like he'd done MASH, he'd done a couple other things. So it wasn't like when he got the role for Airplane, it was like the first dramatic turn to comedy role he'd ever done. But yeah, that was obviously one of the things that put him on the map big time. And then he did the short-lived Naked Gun series, then they brought him back for the movie, and after that he was kind of set as a more comedic-based actor. But yeah, go back and watch him in Creepshow. He's awesome in Creepshow, a more dramatic turn after Airplane. I think that was during, or no, it was before. It was before they did the Naked Gun TV series, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, one of his last moments before he became... again, primarily known as a comedic actor. And I get where Liam Neeson, yes, he has done more comedic takes in the past. He's been with some of Seth MacFarlane's stuff, like the Million Ways to Die in the West and stuff, and probably one or two other ones that I'm forgetting. But I get the casting for that, but there's just no other Leslie Nielsen. I don't know. But yeah, the first Naked Gun is very funny. The second one I don't like near as much. Every one of them has laughs in it for sure. Like the second one, I think the disposal and the kind of comeuppance of the villain is freaking hysterical with the editing timing, because it's like I guess I'll spoil it for a almost over a 30-year-old movie now. So that one's The Smell of Fear, I think, is the second one. But yeah, the main villain, who's Robert Goulet, he gets like shot out of a cannon or launched off a roof or something, and he just lands on the ground and he's fine. He kind of brushes himself off and he gets up, and out of nowhere a freaking lion mauls him. And And again, it's just the timing, the editing of it and stuff. That's the one clip you can cut out of context. I will laugh my ass off at that one. That's the biggest laugh of the second movie for sure. Some of the political takes, like there's a couple jokes at the expense of George H.W. Bush that are pretty funny in that second one, though. That's for sure. And then you get to the third one, A Naked Gun 33 and a third. You could tell, some of it, yes, it's not a perfect movie. It's at that point, you've got like, you can tell it's kind of run out of steam. It's not nearly I think it's not as well produced or as well thought out as some of the other ones. But the third one, I think, I think it has more laughs than the second one. I think it is a better movie than the second one. You've got like, right away toward the beginning, there's like a group therapy thing he does or a couples therapy he does with his wife. And the guy says, well, have you thought about, because they're trying to have a kid. And he says, have you thought about like sexy lingerie or a nice teddy or something? And Leslie Nielsen says, I've tried them all. They don't work. There's jokes like that. And then, for me, the third act, and relevant to tonight, it's the third act of Naked Gun. The third one is set at the Oscars. And you have like a Florence Henderson winning an Oscar joke. A Richard Attenborough directing a musical about Mother Teresa joke. It's like, some of those are really funny, like legit funny. Or you have a joke about the main villain's mother being part of the pact, and Leslie Nielsen's like, I could tell she didn't like me at all, and they show a shot of her flipping him off. Oh, it's just, again, that third one, I don't know, that third one makes me laugh, so, yeah. I can't say for sure that this reboot is going to be any good. I don't think there's been too many previews or first looks or anything at it, but scheduled to come out in August. We'll see. What else do we got here? I guess there's going to be a remake of Toxic Avenger with Peter Dinklage. I think that's been something they've been sitting on for a while. So, okay. Good. Go Troma. Let's see. Then we get into September. We got another Downton Abbey movie. This one will not have Maggie Smith in it. I think she was in one or two of the other ones or something. What else do we have? James L. Brooke has one out called Ella McKay. I don't know much about this one. You've got Emma McKay in it, and you also have Woody Harrelson, Io Edebiri, I think that's how you pronounce her name, from The Bear. You've got Camille Nanjiani, Jack Lowden, Rebecca Hall, Jamie Lee Curtis, and Albert Brooks. It's a decent cast. I don't know much about it. Described as a comedy drama. All right. A young politician tries to balance work life and family life as she takes over as governor of her state. All right. Yeah, I guess I don't know much about that. Scheduled to come out in kind of the middle of September. I don't know. We'll see if that one, maybe if it plays at a festival or two. I'm not sure. I could maybe see it playing at Toronto right before it opens, one of those, which can go 50-50. Some of those are like The Goldfinch, where it's like, nope, it's a total disaster. Other times it's like Hustlers, where it's like, whoa, unexpectedly, this is an Oscar film kind of deal. Let's see, we got a new Saw movie coming out in September, maybe. This is Saw 11 they'd be up to. Let's see here. We have, getting into October now, a new Tron movie. Tron has never been my thing, so don't know about that. Luca Guadagnino has a new one out in October called After the Hunt. Who's in this one? Julia Roberts, Io Edebiri again, Andrew Garfield, Michael Stuhlbarg, Chloe Sevigny. College professor is forced to grapple with her own secretive past after one of her colleagues is faced with serious accusation. Sounds like a drama. Let's see here. Reznor and Ross are doing the score, so they'll probably be nominated. There you go. Let's see what else we got here. Mortal Kombat 2. Yeah, more of that, please. Let's see. Getting into November here, we have Predator Badlands. Sounds like it's going to be kind of, not a obvious direct continuation, because that was set how many years ago. But you had Prey, which was just on Hulu. I did watch that one. It was okay. Again, by the time I got to it, it was really overhyped. A lot of people were like, because it was originally supposed to be a theatrical release, and then they just put it on Hulu, and everyone's like, oh, that must mean it must be terrible or whatever. It must be garbage and everything. And then it came out, and people were like, oh, wait, this is actually really good. And then people started barking at Hulu and Disney and stuff, saying you should have put it in theaters and everything. But sounds like Predator Badlands will be a theatrical release. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, Prey had some good elements to it. Not like the most memorable movie for me, like not one that I've rewatched a bunch, but, fun, entertaining, hour and a half, hour 45, however long it was, movie when it came out. You've got Edgar Wright's remake of The Running Man with Glenn Powell. Coleman Domingo's also in that one. Josh Brolin, I think, has been cast in it. Michael Cera, William H. Macy, Sean Hayes, amongst a few others. Lee Pace is in there. Emilia Jones. A few recognizable names. That's not one of Arnie's, like, one of the ones I'm more familiar with Arnie from the original, but we'll see. Who else we got? We got Begonia, a new film from Yorgos Lanthimos. Of course, you got Emma Stone, Jesse Plemons in it. Both of them are coming back. And then you do have Alicia Silverstone, who I think was in Killing... Wasn't she also in Killing of a Sacred Deer from Yorgos? I'm trying to remember here. It was one of those. She's worked with Yorgos. Did I get it right? I got it right. Nice. That's not one I've seen, by the way. That's why I was a little confused on it. But it's about two conspiracy-obsessed young men kidnap the high-powered CEO of a major company, convinced that she is an alien intent on destroying planet Earth. Sounds interesting. Ari Aster's actually helping produce this one, as is Ed Guiney and Emma Stone. That'll be interesting. Don't know much else about it, but could be interesting. What else do we got here? The big one, of course, when we get to the end of November, is Wicked for Good. I actually had my niece started watching the first Wicked yesterday while the family was together and stuff, and just watching that first part again, I'm like, I'm reminded, I really still really like that movie. So the second one, has some elements, that bring in, some conclusion to some of the storylines that are set up in the first, of course. I don't think there's as many musical numbers unless they start adding some to help pad the runtime here. But I don't know. I'm kind of mixed here. I don't want to say it's going to be as long as the first one. I don't want to say it's going to be shorter than the first one. But I don't know. I wouldn't be shocked if it's just a little bit shorter than the first one. Like if they cut it to like 2:20 or something. That way it's a combined 5 hours or whatever. Let's see. Then you have Zootopia 2. That's scheduled to come out the weekend after Thanksgiving, or would it be the weekend of Thanksgiving? Let's see here, 6, 13, 20, 27. Yeah, this would be the weekend of Thanksgiving this year. And the first Zootopia was really, really, really good. I really, really liked it. And I don't know, it'd probably be nominated for animated feature if it's still pretty good, but no guarantees. And probably not going to win because they hate fucking studio animated fucking movies anymore. Let's see what else. We got December. December we have on the schedule, no previews for it yet or anything, but Avatar Fire and Ash, the third in the Avatar series. And man, again, that first Avatar is, okay, pretty good. The second Avatar, for whatever reason, I really, 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 really liked that movie. I thought it was almost in every way it was superior to the first film. I just thought the action sequences were better. I cared about the characters more. The world building I still thought was really fantastic in that second one rather. And now this third one, okay, it sounds like they're going to bring in. I've heard, I don't see her on the cast list right here. Isn't Michelle Yeoh in this one? I thought she was. Maybe she's not. Maybe I misheard, but I thought she was going to be in this one. David Thewlis is in it. Una Chaplin is in it. Let's see. Otherwise, I think everyone else are people that they've brought back from previous movies and stuff. But this one supposedly is they're going to go on Pandora into some more villainous characters who are Na'vi, and they're based on volcano-based Na'vi and stuff. I don't know. That sounds interesting, and I think it's probably a good idea at this point in this series, which they're planning 2 more sequels after this one. Good to kind of bring in the kind of more gray characters that are Na'vi, because so far the Na'vi have all been, kind of, good characters just being hunted by the by the humans and stuff. It's like it'd be kind of interesting now to see if to see it kind of turn where it's more okay. Now we get some villainous snobby. That I think that'll be a good decision there. Let's see. We have I don't know. I mean, I'm looking at like we got like a one of the I think just one of the Safdies is doing a movie called Marty Supreme with Timothée Chalamet. He plays Marty Reisman. Have I heard of this one? Ping pong table guy. Okay, maybe I have heard of this one. He's in it. Fran Drescher's in it. Gwyneth Paltrow's in it. Anyone else I know? Those are the only names that are popping out to me here. Let's see here. Yeah, Josh Safdie is directing this one. I think evidently it's solo directed. I don't think both the Safdie brothers are doing that one. Paul Feig has one out, but I don't know much about it, called The Housemaid. I don't know. But it's Sydney Sweeney and Amanda Seyfried, so there's some blondes for you. Yeah, I don't know. So yeah, again, it's always tough because obviously at this time last year we didn't know about Anora. That premiered at Cannes and then got picked up by Neon, amongst various others. But it's always a little tough because at this point we really only know about the studio films. We hear rumblings about this director has something out. This director has something cooking. Blah blah blah. But I don't know. It's a fun little thing I like to do every year is go into what's coming out and stuff. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think we have way too much else to say this year to wrap this year up. It was very up and down season. Very kind of unpredictable. We'd see nights where like Anora goes 0 for 3 at SAG, and then it goes 0 for 5 at Golden Globes or whatever it was. It was 5 or 6 at the Globes. It just it didn't win nothing. And then tonight it goes 5 for 6. Almost sweeps its entire nominations. Just Yora is the only lone guy out. Otherwise, by the way, Complete Unknown, like Elvis, a couple years ago, goes 0 for 8. Another musical biopic that goes 0 for 8 at the Oscars. What else here? Yeah, Conclave ends up getting only the one win for screenplay when, it felt like that one was a threat to win for picture. It was, felt like arguably one that could win for film editing. Amelia Perez only gets 2. What else? Substance only picks up makeup and hairstyling, does not win for Demi Moore, and she did not look happy about it in one cutaway shot, but I don't know. It might have been just bad timing on that one. I still feel like Wicked only getting the 2 categories. For the popularity of that one, getting to 10 nominations and stuff, even without directing or screenplay nominations, a little surprised that one couldn't pick up like sound or a sound category, or maybe earlier in the season couldn't have contended more to win for makeup, but yeah, I don't know. And obviously another thing too, is that one could be one where maybe next year with Wicked for Good, which is going to be the conclusion and everything, that's going to be kind of the last chance to award the film, because I doubt they're going to try to do a third one and make it a trilogy. They're not going to Hobbit this, I hope. Yeah. And we're not sure about Dune 3 or Dune Messiah. I think that's the name of the book that they would adapt it from. That's the next one I think Herbert did. Or Hebert, whatever his name is. I always mess that up. I don't know. That's all I got for now. So yeah, like I said, we've got a video series that'll be coming out later this year. No firm release date on that yet because I'm still working on the latter parts of it. 3 parts of the series are done. Again, I don't want to upload those and then just have a long delay before we get to the last 2. So I'd rather, do it sequentially, of course, sequentially. You don't want to start with part 4 or something like George Lucas did. Joke. But no, we want to, I want to get them out on a more like timely basis. Like, okay, do them every 2 weeks or something, do a plan like that. But yeah, I'm hoping that we can get to that here in somewhere in May or June, hopefully. Get that out, and then, see how you guys like that. It's going to be, again, something that's in the wheelhouse of what the channel has been, but a little different style, a little different production presentation. Then we have, I usually do a video for March Madness predictions. Last year was god-awful, one of the worst I've ever done when it comes to basketball predictions and stuff, but I don't know. This year, I don't know. I'll try again this year. So we're, what are we, 2 weeks away from Selection Sunday? Yes, 2 weeks away from Selection Sunday today. So, yeah. I'll get some predictions out for that maybe like the Monday or Tuesday before, maybe the Tuesday before the games begin. Yeah, so that's all I got for now. I will be back for that for sure. And eventually, yes, we will get that video series that I've been talking about for months and months and months at this point. I will have that done. And again, unless things go drastically wrong, it will be done before we get to next year's Oscar season. So, all right, that's all we got for this time. So the 2025 Oscars are now behind us, and we've got other stuff to look forward to. So that's that.